talk dirty. No, sorry, this is today. Those in power talk a fake, dignified language, and we, rebellious leftist youth, we should do like this, fuck you, to politicians, to unmask their indecency and so on and so on. But something fundamentally changed. Now it's the alt-right which rediscovered this obscenity of political speech, and I'm not simply saying we should reappropriate it. What I'm now very manipulative. What the left should do, I tried to do this in that unfortunate debate with Jordan Peterson.
I'm going to ask you about that in a second.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Where my point was this one, because Jordan Peterson pretends to be this, morally upright, no postmodern, and so on and so on. And my point was, sorry, but Trump is for me the postmodern caricature of an obscene president. Trump is not moral majority. If anything, Bernie Sanders is a figure of traditional decency and so on. So it may look, I often am in slight contradiction with what I just said, but I would be tempted to say that with all this open obscenity practiced now by Trump and his guys, maybe the left should adopt a much more moralistic role. The function of the left to ordinary people should be, listen, we understand you, good Christians caring for ordinary decency. We are the guys. Trump is the obscene guy. Trump is the true postmodern master who makes fun of himself and all that stuff. And it's not only here with Trump. Boris Johnson is playing the same game all around Europe. Even Christians. No, you probably don't know it. I follow where these rules of indecency changed in Europe, and I was shocked. The most tasteless example, it would have been maybe even too much for Trump, I found in Poland. The boss of Poland is now Kaczynski. He's not formally the boss, but he leads the ruling party, arch-Catholic, conservative, nationalist. And in the last elections, before the last, he was asked, what's your plan when you regain power? And he answered with an extremely vulgar proverb in Polish, teraz kurwa mi, which means now it's our turn to fuck the whore. It's this military expression when soldiers wait in line to fuck the prostitute. And then the TV interviewer, he said this on public state TV, was shocked. Oh my God, did you? He said, no, I insist, I meant it. And so on, like, now you will see, we will exert power and so on. So I think this obscenity works at two levels. On the one hand, of course, it's a primitive way for right-wing populists to show solidarity with to show solidarity with ordinary people. Like, we are not those elite guys and so on. I'm like you. On the other hand, I think that Trump plays here a double game. Yes, he tells dirty jokes, makes fun, but when he says, I love America and all that stuff, patriotic stuff, he is very serious. It's strictly clear opposition in Trump when he is meant to be consciously obscene funny. And incidentally, his great friend Putin is doing the same. I once met a guy who knew a guy who was Putin's PR guy. Mm-hmm. And Putin from time to time has a spontaneous outburst. He uses some dirty word. And this guy confirmed my suspicion. These spontaneous, vulgar outbursts are the best planned in detailed outbursts of Putin. But I think the way maybe that would have worked against Trump is to turn it around and to take seriously his obscenities, but to mock as ridiculous his serious
sincerity.
The true joke of Trump is make America great again. It's not when he does this grab by the pussy and so on stuff,
Yeah, it's when he hugs the American flag on stage.
That's for me pure masturbatory obscenity and so on. If I would like to
gross.
Be that.
We saw him do it live.
It's gross. It's really where is here? I am a conservative Christian. Where is some moral censorship committee?
Jesse Helms, put a curtain in front of that.
And the way, did you notice how when he embraces the flag, he has this kind of a weird loving smile.
Yeah.
This is pure obscenity.
His mouth gets very wet.
Yeah.
So you brought him up. I wanted to ask you about it. I guess a couple months ago you did this debate with Jordan Peterson. This is a Clash of the Titans. First of all, I want to say.
No. You know where I even felt some solidarity with him?
Yeah.
What Clash of the Titans? We are both marginalized in the mainstream. Look at me. You are maybe young enough not to remember this. Till 6-7 years ago, I almost regularly published op-eds in New York Times. Yeah. Now I'm totally prohibited there. Then even the left, in these times, the Chicago Journal, totally prohibited. I had an incorrect stance on refugees and so on, prohibited. So did you notice this, that the only medium in the United States where they publish me, it's a very marginal digital one. It's the Los Angeles Review of Books Philosophical Salon. I'm out.
It's like a bad joke, Los Angeles Review of Books.
Yeah. Although, don't underestimate Los Angeles. I am now sick and tired of San Francisco, the big competition.
Sure.
I think LA, San Francisco, they think it's like Harvard University. They think they are the center of the world. They are not.
Yeah.
But what to say, the same thing happened in the UK. Guardian. Up till 3 years ago, I was regularly there, almost at least every second week. Now I'm totally prohibited. Even the leftist, London Review of Books, the New Left Review, I'm prohibited. I'm now totally so I laughed at these two titans, but I'm even more marginalized than him. Now, why I did it? But I did it, the main reason I accepted it. One was purely narcissistic. He challenged me.
Yeah.
And then, anytime, anywhere, whatever. And I got many replies from people, oh, you chickened out, are you afraid, and so on. I just wanted to prove, sorry guys, I am not afraid. Second thing is a much more subtle one. I think that, as it's always the problem with our most radical and effective enemies, they hit a grain of truth. That's also my formula of fake lies. Fake lies are most dangerous when they incorporate into their narrative elements of truth. So, incidentally, but I don't want to go into it. I know people who know Joe Biden. They said, okay, Trump is disgusting, but Biden's son is corrupted.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's go on.
I mean, whatever. I got a job for $50,000 a month doing natural gas in the Ukraine.
Yes,
it's just me.
Of course.
I'm like, hey guys.
Yeah. No, but going back, my idea was this one. Don't dismiss all of Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Many people who are for him like this basic message. Don't just complain. Pull yourself together. Act. Decide. And so on.
Don't live passively.
Now, what's wrong about this? And it's a tragedy to leave this to right-wingers. This motive. I think there is a problem with this self-victimizing, complaining liberal left. This is why I also, that's my last provocation. I'm already attacked in Europe. I like this Greta Thunberg. And why? Because she's, I think, the best example of toxic masculinity that I can. If you read the exact definition of toxic masculinity, instead of dialogue, you act aggressively and so on. She is it. Did you notice how Greta changed her image? Till 2-3 months ago, she was the innocent girl who is just telling the emperor is naked. Now, she has this ironic, almost demoniac smile and so on. I think I like women who are like this. And this is, she is not a man. She has a specifically feminine aggressivity, which is, I think, important today. Because why do our media like so much the feminine approach? It's part of today's politics and ideology where oppression have to be masked as how should I call it, medical advice. We should understand if you are a criminal, you should get psychological advice, therapeutic approach. And women fit here wonderfully. A friend of mine in France did an analysis how to deal with youthful crime and so on. They prefer women. They they do the same state oppression, but in this feminine, understanding way, and so on and so on. So no, I think if anything in politics, this is now to annoy my friends, Democrats, we need more brutal protest. I'm not for physical protest. But what I like about Greta Thunberg is her point is not, I go to Congress, let's dialogue a bit. No. Her message is, you don't listen to me, I am right. No debate. No debate.
Yeah.
And I think this is the only way to approach what I consider the truly big problems today, like ecology. No, sorry, we shouldn't debate 1 degree Celsius or Fahrenheit or 2 or 3. This is the same is for me with digital control, which is the real horror today. You know, like how we are already controlled, what is the process. We should raise the temperature here in a non-violent way, but large-scale protests and so on and so on. I talk too much, please go on.
Sorry. Speaking of debate, and Peterson, by the way, prayers up for our boy. He's in rehab right now. Yep. All his losses, lessons. Just keep strong. Stay at it, brother.
No, but sorry, just to finish. Yes, so my idea was a very conscious manipulation, and from the reactions I got, I succeeded. I was really talking to his fans.
Yeah.
Like, guys, you are sick and tired of this politically correct, blah, blah. Listen, we, the left, can do the same job, maybe even better for you.
I mean, like, I guess, like, you know, going through that, like, did you learn anything from or about him?
No. And no, here I'm very brutal. I believe literally what I said before about masks. I'm totally not interested what kind of person is he really behind the mask. I don't care. What I only appreciate about him is that, in contrast to many leftists who would just, victimize, understand, but what he does, I don't know if he still does it, with his patients. He really deals with individuals who suffer, who are self-destroyed, and tries to somehow make them functioning again. This is quite an honorable thing to do, because, all those leftists who claim how moral decay or drugs is part of our culture, they like to do big social analysis, but are you ready? Did they ever see really a self-destroyed guy there? We afterwards, we had a quarter of an hour of a chat, and we established that what surprised, he also told me that many of his fans were furious at him, like, why didn't you grind him? And to me also, like, all left, I got dozens of leftist emails, like, why didn't you screw his mother or that motherfucker and so on? I said, no, that was the beauty. It was absolutely clear how different we are. So there was no need to rehash that point.
Well, to quote, I guess the boss of Poland, when it was your turn with the prostitute, I think the line that stuck out the most is when you asked him, like, who are actually these Marxists in the American Academy?
It was ridiculous. His answer was Jacques Derrida, Michel Foucault. You know that there was on YouTube one wonderful caricature, because did you notice he had a PC in front of him? They tried to imagine what was he doing there, and you see him Googling, who is Hegel, who is Marx? No, but he admitted this to me. He, don't overestimate him. He likes to say, read more. I read, for example, he quote Solzhenitsyn. My God, was he ever in Russia? Every honest Russian will tell you, Solzhenitsyn was a pathetic fake. You get another guy, Varlam Shalamov, Kolima Tales. It's written in a totally different, not this Solzhenitsyn's ethical, pathetic, moralizing, just in the style of early Hemingway, short stories about Gulag.
This is what happened, It's sort of like the difference between, like, Elie Wiesel and Primo Levi and, like, Holocaust literature. Like, every American school kid reads Elie Wiesel.
Here we get another point
nobody
about
knows Levi.
Jokes. About jokes. And what fascinates me now? My idea was, in the most deeply respectful way, that if this is a man, his Auschwitz memoirs are basically a comical book. And I mean it in a very respectful way. What's my point? If you read, there are scenes there which, in their utmost horror, have a comical aspect. For example, when he describes the process of selection, how, each prisoner once every 2 months. You have to run naked in front of an SSO, and he just put you, gas chamber, still to work. And how they exchange advices. If you pinch, you had to look as healthy as...
Sort of.
It's a comic show. And what's my theory here? When things get really terrifying, it's a fake to be tragic. Tragedy works when you, as a victim, are still able to retain certain minimal dignity. Tragedy only works at that level. When things get really nightmarish, it must be a comedy, but this comedy doesn't mean I make laugh of it. It means I'm so perplexed by it that it would be a fake to adopt this dignified, tragic stance. I'm totally perplexed. I can only make fun of it. And now I discovered, with pleasure, my Jewish friends told me, do you know that there is a whole subspecies of Jewish Auschwitz jokes, making fun of themselves? And this is not disrespectful. It's just a way to recognize, sorry guys, something so horrible happened, it would be a fake. And even in ex-Yugoslavia, there are Srebrenica jokes, not by others, by the Srebrenica survivors themselves. Better not me to start tell them they are both extremely obscene and so on and so on. So for me, and this is the lie, for me, I always repeat this. Did you see the movie La Vita è Bella, Life is Beautiful?
Yes.
You know what's the lie of that movie? That it doesn't persist in its comical stance to the end. At the end, there is the tragic moment.
Right.
When father sacrifices himself. Would you agree, let's say we all know the story. I have an idea of how to remake the movie, which would have made him truly, I wouldn't say tragic, desperate. We know the story. Father and son are arrested to Auschwitz. In order for his son to make it easier, father tells him a bullshit story, tells him that
like
this is not really Auschwitz, it's a big competition.
Yeah.
We can leave whatever we want, but if you survive, you will get a big prize. Okay, what if when father is led away to be shot, he would have learned that his son knew this all the time. He just pretended to believe.
So he was doing it for his dad, not the other way around.
Yeah. Wouldn't this make the movie really desperate? That there is no naive, innocent gaze for which you fake they were all cheating. This would have been the true tragedy. So you see, and also, sorry, just to go to the end, I'm also well aware from my own past that I'm not just celebrating vulgar humor. I'm well aware, especially from my communist past, that you not only have lower class jokes against those in power. In communist nomenclatura, you have a whole series of jokes making fun of ordinary people. They didn't believe in their communism. They make fun of idiots who take them seriously and so on. So I'm well aware that this was my big experience. No, you probably haven't read. I used this in one of my early books of serving the army. I had to. And I learned there, this was almost my metaphysical epiphany. First, I thought,